Welcome to Soul Awakening podcast, Emerge and Flow. I'm so happy to have you guys here again, beautiful souls, for the Soul Awakening conversation. Yes, coming into this spot that allows flow, that allows just a time to just be, to just listen to someone else, share their story and their journey, how they got to where they are, how they utilize their infinite wisdom, and to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. So I am so happy that we're on this Emerge and Flow session with a beautiful, radiant Rashida Walls. She's a Reiki master, she's a psychic, and she is the host of the Ultimate Human Experience podcast on Spotify. Rashida's work is all about helping people recover their light and come home to who they truly are. To live in this 3D body, or what we consider a 3D body, but tapping into our higher being or our soul or our spirit, whatever you choose to call that, and implementing our conscious aware mind in healing ourselves, putting our traumas in its proper place, wherever you choose, wherever that chooses to be, wherever you choose to surrender it. And we are going to ask her 3 engaging, flow-centered questions. And I hope you take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Because what works for her may not work for you, but there might be just a little inkling of a seed that you might take in to grow. So I hope that I will welcome her in. I said hello, so next we have to wait for the request. And then as soon as we do that, we'll get on to the meat and potatoes. I love it. So Rashida, it's not letting me request. Oh, there we go. So I know that this conversation will bring through exactly what is needed and meant for you. If you came into this room,
Oh, hold on.
okay,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, great. How are you?
Yeah, I am good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm excited for the conversation. As always, this is not our first time, but yeah, I look forward to it. I love our chats.
Yes, I look forward to it too. This is my revamp. The divine called me to revamp it. I thought that once I had taken that hiatus for my health and my growth and my well-being, that um, Instagram, the Instagram podcast was going to be okay, done, right? And grown in another place, another time, and whatever. And the divine just I was meditating and said, nope, I'm just revamping, and just dropped all these little golden nuggets into me, and it became a soul awakening conversation, emerge and flow, because it's now a new, what I want to get into is not just everybody having an awakening and what happened in that moment, but now it's all the many awakenings you're having in all the different areas of your life, and how it's growing you, expanding you, and how you're using that for community or service to others or service to family, growing your family. So I just went, okay, here we go.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because really it is about everyday life. It is about that human experience, right? Like,
Right.
We sometimes forget, and then we're like, oh, yeah, it's a nice reminder that we're just on this journey, and it really is like a never ending, but it's also one where, yeah, I like that emerge and flow.
That, yeah, to and it's sometimes even when I think about it today, I was really thinking about it. Sometimes it's a surrender,
Mm,
emerge, and then a flow,
yeah,
and then we get to then that wash, rinse, repeat
yeah,
happens in a different maybe in the same area of our life, because we're learning, or in other areas of our life, you know. It's never really, it's not about perfection, it's about life, it's about
yeah,
living, right?
yeah.
So
I,
I am so glad that you are here. Now, I gave you an introduction, but I want you to, if there's anything that I forgot, anything new that is part of what you're doing, the service that you're giving, please share that with us now. Kind of toot your own horn. Toot toot.
yeah, definitely. I appreciate that. No, you said everything beautifully. That's why I waited to like request. Um, yeah, I guide people along their journey. I hope to teach people, like the more that I learn and grow, that you can be and you are the inner compass. And I want to be able to inspire others to find that inner compass within themselves. Like I love being a psychic, like I love telling people their future, but I also feel like that's not really what I'm doing. I'm just giving them the different avenues, the different things that I see in images and what that looks like for them. I want it's an everyday thing, right? Just like we said, it's like a human experience.
Right.
So everybody's living their own journey, they're on their own like trajectory, and I want them to have the confidence to be able to make whatever choices they feel are right for them, but while using spirit, because I really feel like we can't be our own vehicle, you know what I mean, to our body and to our journey. And I hope that that's what I can continue to do. I think I do that a lot in the podcast, is letting people know that like it's everyday life. Like
Yeah.
nobody is perfect. We're all trying to figure it out. And I love to hear other people's perspectives. Like I love to hear how other people think, how they have navigated. I take notes. I like take little cliff notes on other people's experiences and say, oh yeah, like I never thought about it that way. Or let me take that now and utilize that in my own journey, however I can utilize it. So yeah, you
Yeah.
did great.
Well, wherever the placement is for you guys
Yeah.
and gals, right, in the audience, is to take what resonates for you. One size just truly doesn't fit all. That's why I have these conversations, because there are individuals that are recalling,
Mm,
waking up to their recalling, or remembering, whatever the choice of labels are. And some of us are given the gift of sight, or everyone has the gift of sight. It's when it gets open. It's when something you rub up against, or something in your life activates that to open up into you, or not into you, through you, because everything we have, I truly believe that the divine didn't allow us to come on this journey and give us no tools.
right.
I believe they're all in us, and they're waking up as we're recalling, as we're tapping in to our higher self,
Mm,
and kind of like turning on a computer, and all of a sudden it takes a while for that computer to boot up and all the systems to come online. So here we are, these people that were called, or have these gifts that we can share and help others to recall.
mm,
I remember when I first got the was open to the gift of oracle, the oracle movement through me, and it didn't come through oracle cards. I was on a live with someone else, or they were on my live. I can't remember. It was a shared live, and she usually reads her, I think, tarot cards or maybe oracle cards. But anyway, someone came in and wanted a reading, and the divine gave her the message to tell me to go and open up a book.
Hmm.
And I just took in that the divine's word is my word. I asked the person to think about, you know, uh, about tapping into their higher self, and I just opened the book.
Mm.
And it was a different, and then it grew for cards, you know. And I remember a friend of mine sent me two gifts. I didn't know they were coming. They just showed up, and it was a oracle deck and a tarot deck. And I remember picking up the tarot cards and feeling this weird vibration.
Mm.
And then I picked up the oracle cards, and I felt so warm inside. I felt pulled to it, but it's like my whole body just felt like it lit up,
Yeah.
right? And the more I used them, you know, I kind of understood that I could do this calling, but mine was, it was not for somebody to ask me direct questions. It's for them to go within themselves, ask themselves their, or ask their higher being, and then I get to hold that space
Yeah.
where and it felt like, at first it felt weird and odd because I wasn't doing it like everybody else.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's not, yeah, I realized that too when I started to do it. I was like, am I supposed to have like a certain way to set this up? But I really don't. Like, spirit moves through me 24/7. Like, I can look at somebody and know exactly how they're feeling, their emotions, their all that stuff. And
Mhm.
sometimes, like, ooh, like, I wish I could help that person, but I could also see, like, yep, they're just where they're supposed to be, right? Like, you know what I mean? Some I've had the opportunity to share what it is that I do, and in that it intrigues them. And
Mhm.
I'm just saying to somebody, like, if all I can do is ignite something within them, that's also just as good, right? Because
Yeah,
eventually they'll find their way.
it'll find their way. I
Yeah.
welcome in Phoenix. Uh, she says, I love Oracle. I don't connect with tarot. And then she says, cards are only tools for us. For us, our gifts come from within. Exactly. That's exactly what we're talking about right now. And it's it's also a growth and a process. You know, I'm not giving up on tarot. It's just it hasn't called me yet. I haven't given away. They were the cards to themselves was a gift. And when it's called, I told the divine, whatever you want me to do with them, I will do it. The reason why is I'm surrendering to my higher self, because I know I wouldn't be here if my higher self didn't create me
Yeah.
to
And
to
trust.
be on this journey.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, now that I have this conversation that I can have with my higher being, it's just I don't know how to turn around and pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah, that can't happen.
Yeah, you know, it's like, you know, you try it at the beginning because you know, you want to for me, you do one of two things, which is you try to be more human and not stick out. And then there's the other thing where you want to be more spiritual or in spirit, and bypass the humanness, right?
Right?
And
Yeah.
and then you kind of, you know, there's a point where you just surrender it all and go, I'm just going to be all of it,
Yeah.
you know. So I've got three in flow centered questions, and then I have my signature question towards the end. And it would not be a conversation if you could not ask me questions, a
I,
question, or even in between my questions.
yeah, for sure. That's gonna happen.
Right. Okay. So the first one is, and like I tell all my other guests, when you said yes to me, when you confirmed, I went back to the divine and I said, show me the type of questions that, is expressly for this this podcast, you know, and I just said she does this, she does that, dot blah blah, thy word is my word and your word, and the divine, and I did the whole thing. So in the essence of that spirit of the questions that were given to me, I'm going to read them so that I don't get, I'm a Gemini, I'll get off track, I'll start ad-libbing, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one is, you often speak about helping people recover their life. Can you share what that phrase truly means to you? And then perhaps a moment when you witness someone reconnecting with that life within themselves.
That's a good question.
It's twofold. Of course,
Yeah,
you know me. I got to get as much out of you as possible,
yeah. Sure. Um, when it comes to people recovering their light, I do want people to remember. I can only go based off of my own personal experience. Having my son allowed me to remember. It started the journey for me. Like
Uh-huh.
remembering who I was, knowing that I was here for much more than what people had told me. Like, excuse me.
Bless
Uh,
you.
I'm just getting over a cold too, so. But yeah, becoming a mom really reminded me that I could be anything that I wanted to be, because I wanted, when I looked at my kids, I was like, oh, like you can be whatever you want to be, because why would you not want to tell your kids that, right?
Right.
Um, and that's really was like, well, if you're telling him this, you kind of have to model it. And from there, it's been a journey. And yeah, just like you said, I would never look back. I think before I didn't really know, I couldn't say to you 10 years ago or like when I was in my 20s what it was all about. I just knew that this felt right
Yeah.
and it felt like I was on the right path. Now that I'm in my 40s and my kids are getting a little bit older, I'm like, oh,
Damn, girl, you look good.
well, thank you. Uh, yeah, I'm remembering. Like that's the biggest piece is I am remembering my soul. Like my soul already knew, but as Rashida, I don't think I knew. I think I
Mhm.
was like I was insecure. I was, you know what I mean? I had gone through a lot of stuff growing up that I had seen, and I was confused. I was angry. I was all these different things growing up, and I couldn't really make sense of it. And now I can look back at my life and realize,
Mhm.
oh, I can put the pieces together, and like really, I'm putting the little puzzle pieces, and it's all making sense how it led me to where I am today. And now I'm in this space of like expansion. Like my heart has grown so much bigger in a way that like I can hold more. I definitely said before that I could live in the spirit world, but I always felt safe there because this world was not safe for me growing up. And
Mhm.
now I'm in a space of like, they're like, okay, Rashida, we hear you, but we also want you to participate in this world. And I have been doing that for quite a while, and I'm getting more comfortable in it. So I want to teach other people, especially, I don't know why, I'm always wanting to teach women. That's always the go-to for me. But I think that women, we don't get the opportunity to remember. I think we probably forget the most
Mhm.
because we get older, like people just told us what we're supposed to do, then you become a mom, then
Right.
mom life takes over, and then that becomes a whole role that you're trying to figure out. In the process, you forget who you are as a person, right? You forget who you are as Sandra. I forget who I am as Rashida. And I see a lot of that out there in this world, that there's so many women that are just coasting because they're like, well, this is just what I'm supposed to do. And it's like, oh, no, no,
Right.
no. doesn't matter what age, how many kids you have, like you have a right to get to know who you are and to
Right.
remember that. And once you start to remember, it ignites something in you that you, I can't even describe the words that it is, but it feels full. It doesn't feel so depleting. It doesn't, yeah, it just feels good. So, yeah, when it comes to remembering, that's the biggest thing. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, you
That,
did.
what's
And
the other?
I'd like to add, I don't know if the right word is a caveat, but and I think this is more can be more for women than men, just because of what's how women have been kind of laden with uh, not being fully able to just step out and just voice it like men. Men can always talk. Most men, okay, there are I'm still dealing with a lot of men who are being abused in the home and they're not able to express it because of a certain stigma that's on them as well of just how they were taught for years and years and years, or well, more than years, for centuries, as little boys don't cry, blah blah blah, and all of this. So they've packed everything in as well. But for both, for the human species, there, I'll say it this way, we are learning, we're doing it two ways. We're remembering as the human mind does, and we're recalling at the same time from our higher self.
Mm,
So first, a lot of us women have to remember who we were or who we could be as a human, as a physical body. Who is Rashida? Who is Sandra? And then when you step into that moment of recalling, now you've got your higher being coming in and saying, okay, explain me to you, explain you to me.
mm,
Okay, because our higher selves have come in for the experience in in duality, which is the human story. It's come in to find out, why don't you like that? Why do you feel that way about not liking something? Why do you have this disdain for this, and you have a certain kind of dislike for that, but you can tolerate that dislike, but you feel such pain for this disdain over here, and your higher being is saying, explain it to me, Rashida, explain it to me, Sandra, because I want to know. And now you have, for me, I was having that all at once.
mm.
I was learning about my physical self and I was having these recallings, but I didn't know then that it was a recall,
Yeah. Yeah, I can
you
agree with
know?
you. I didn't really know. I'll be honest, I don't think I really knew, really knew. I really think that when you go on this journey, you're always going to dive deeper. Like you thought you were here and you're like, okay, I like this. This feels good. And they're like, yeah, guess what? We're going to take you to another level. So it's
Right.
happening. You are absolutely ascending and transcending certain things. And
Yeah.
I felt for sure, like in the last year and a bit, really learned more about myself, how much like what I actually tolerate, what I shouldn't tolerate, deepening myself on a human level, but also on the spiritual level, knowing that I can hold space to that degree, and also just acknowledging the fact that like I can carry that presence. And I don't know if this is something, maybe I should ask this question. Spirit is like, when it comes to women, I think sometimes we don't feel like we can hold that capacity in that space, right? Because we feel so, what people will say is society is like, we feel burdened, we feel very heavy with a lot of stuff, that a lot of the times we feel like, can I handle this? Especially if you're a parent, you're like, oh, it's a lot to manage being a mom, being yourself, and all these different roles that you play,
Hmm.
that I'm now learning that like I was made for that. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Rather than running away from it or feeling like, oh, I can't manage this. You know what I mean? That stress and all of that. It's almost saying like Shida, you didn't even realize that you actually had the capacity to hold this space in a way that becomes a container for your loved ones. Like, honor the fact that you can hold that space for them, that they feel comfortable to come to you and have deep conversations where they get to learn and you get to learn. Like, that's opening up something more. And I don't think I really understood that until like from last year, I think, last summer till now. And I'm like, oh, okay, I actually have that innate power within me to hold more than I thought I could, which of course we can because we're infinite beings. Like, why? You know what I mean? Let's say people
Yeah.
say, like, God would not give you something if you couldn't handle it. And I'm starting to realize, like, Rashida, yeah, man, like, we're giving it to you because we know you can handle it.
Yeah.
So, how are you
Exactly.
hold space for people? What kind of energy are you going to bring into, I don't want to fix things, but I also want to know that the frequency and the energy that I'm coming in with is something that grounds everybody. And so it should, because I'm a grounded kind of person. Like, I have to, those are the things that I'm remembering rather than feeling like this. Yeah, like I will have chaos, but in that I've found this peace where I'm like, okay, spirit, what are you trying to tell me right now? Okay, I need to do this, or yes, you need to rest, or just, Rashida, remember to breathe into every experience, be present, be aware of everything. And in
Right.
that, I feel like so whole, like it feels so different. I can't really describe, but I hope that was
No,
the,
no, that answers that one, right? Uh, because I feel, I think in the last year and a half, right? I mean, to understand that I can have many awakenings.
mm,
Okay. So to me, that now what I equate that to is that many awakenings are me diving deeper.
mm,
Because once upon a time, maybe 3, 4 years ago, I asked to go deep, and the divine said, let it be so.
yeah,
But I never asked to come up.
mm,
So I'm still diving. And I was in a meditation with, I was like, okay, why does this seem so hard? Or why is this happening? I want to understand it a little more. I know I'm not in victim mode, but I have to ask these questions so that I can take the next discernative step and go into meditation. Well, the only one that I begin to understand was me allowing my egoic self to have a moment of quiet, just going, okay, just hush. I'm going to ask a question for us. And I think I've got to go a little bit higher because I need a different, we've been doing it the same way over and over and over. And that's the equivalent of the human part of us being crazy. I know I'm not crazy. I just need to see it a different way.
yeah,
So, and then realizing that I'm training my egoic self, which is part of the divine, it's an aspect of the divine, and that helped me to understand it. So then when I asked the divine in me, okay, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel it's tremendous, but I feel that there's close by, there's a surrender close by. I just can't see it. And why does this keep coming around? And the divine said, well, you've been deep diving, and we've been, once you reach a tier or a level, we just thought you wanted to take the next step,
yeah,
right? And I went, oh, and the divine said, do you want to stop? Do you want to take a breath? Do you want to have a moment? And my thing was, I can't turn back now,
yeah. You've already got this far.
right?
So let's see what keeps. Yeah, let's see what you got.
Right. I can't do the turn back. So I've got a deep dive. And the more I deep dive, the more I find out that, well, the first, I don't know, it blows my mind, and I don't mind sharing this with people because you have to. I don't believe people need to know all of my life. I don't believe that they need to follow my life to get theirs right. I believe I get to share. I believe that the divine in me, the higher being in me, I went into meditation and I asked my higher being directly. I said, why did you have me born in this time era? Because I'm experiencing different things. I experienced marrying my high school sweetheart. I did what everybody told me I should do as a young black girl, right? Grow up. You played with Barbie and Ken, you know, and little girls had the dolls and boys had the Tonka trucks. Boys are going to grow up. They're going to be the male of the family. They're going to be the head of the household, and they're going to decide what the religion is, and that whole thing. I grew up in Northern Baptist background, okay, but I was the kid that was always asking questions and being annoyed about, if the story didn't fit, if it didn't sound right, I would ask the questions, okay. So in spirituality, I was more verbal, but in all the other stuff that was being indoctrinated to, not to say that my mother didn't know not to indoctrinate me, she was trying her best to make sure I got an education. I went to college, I got a degree, and I was fitting in the program that was already preset, which is marry a high school sweetheart, live happily ever after, have 3.2 kids, three kids and one on the way, that kind of thing. And which I did. Happily ever after didn't last long in the story. What I realize now is that person that was my husband, that was that higher being that was going to activate me or trigger me into a new story, he left. He walked out.
Mm,
That's his story. That's how he chose to do it. He said, this is, I truly believe I understand now that he said, no, this isn't what marriage is for me.
mm,
And just one day he walked out. Maybe, like I tell a lot of people, maybe he did it, maybe he didn't do it in the right way, or maybe he did do it in the right way, because it was a catalyst or a trigger or an action that started me on a road to growth
mm,
and to ask more. I didn't know the word back then, embodying, but to ask embodying questions. So I grew and I expanded.
mm,
So the question that I asked after, we got divorced, and I never remarried. Okay. I did date guys, but never really fulfilled me. So I asked the divine, I said, I just told my divine self, I said, come on, I'm having these feelings. These feelings have never been for men. What's your play here? And my higher being said, I can come in and have a lifetime of experiences with you. You were born in the right year where you grew through everything. So you get to, if you want to experience being with a man and then being with a woman, we get to do it here in this time period.
I get it.
And it blew my mind for a minute because it had me rethink everything. That my higher being tapped into my DNA and said, okay, we've done that. And now she's having these feelings. And, oh, she just asked me. So here it is.
Mm,
So, and then said, and then left it so open ended. Do what you want to do,
mm,
right? Actually, I think my higher being said, show me whatever you want to do. I have no right or wrong,
mm,
you know, but you get to have what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And that leads you down to whatever your next story is. So it started me thinking not just about what that next story of what my next relationship might be, but how many stories do I have in this one lifetime that
Mm,
my higher being has set up,
yeah.
right? So that takes me to the next story, your next story. As both a Reiki master and a psychic, you work deeply with the unseen energy. What has your relationship with your own energy taught you about trust, surrender, and or balance between giving and receiving?
Mm, such great questions. Wow. Like, trust, can you swear on here?
Hmm.
Yeah, trust the shit out of yourself.
Oh yeah, you don't
Like,
even have to. Never, whenever you're on my podcast, I got a mouth like a sailor.
yeah,
I'm
trust,
just saying.
yeah, trust the shit. It's not going to happen right away. That's the truth. Depending on, like what you said, right? Depending on the era that you grew up in, it's whatever society has taught you in that moment, whatever you were programmed to live like, that was what you were supposed to go through. But if you can really lean into faith, like
Hmm.
lean into the divine, you are not, we're not doing this alone. Like, I never, as a kid, I could sense energy. I didn't know they were spirits. I would be like, okay, that's a ghost or whatever it is, but I
Yeah.
knew that something was around. Um, and they've never left me. I used to think I was talking to myself all the time. I was talking to myself all the time. And now I realize, oh, I was never talking to myself. I was always talking to, whether it's my higher self, my ancestors, my spirit guides. I'm talking to somebody because they have guided me through some stuff. And now they're like, oh, it's go time. More now than ever. I mean, there's this new moon in Scorpio just came through. I don't know how everybody else felt the energy, but I definitely felt it in a way that just feels more of a knowing. Like I know, and it doesn't mean like I am like, oh, I hope I'll get to this goal, or I don't. No, I know that that stuff is already there. I'm just
Right.
going through motions and I'm watching it all unfold. So lean in as much as you can. As crazy as it sounds, that's how much you need to lean in because I would never be able to do any of what I do without spirit nudging me in my ear. And I literally just said this to somebody. And I even had like on one of my podcast episodes, someone who is a really great friend of mine was like, I never create without spirit. And if I'm in the moment of writer's block or I can't create, it's because I'm just not on the right frequency. And I'm like, ooh, I like the way she said it because every time I do anything when it comes to creativity or when I share messages on social media, it's literally because spirit is like, boop, and they're like, go share this. And
Yes.
I would say before I'd be like, well, I don't know, or I try to, reword it, and they're like, no, 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 just share it the way that we are showing it to you. That's what you need to do. So I realized more that like I'm the vessel, and if anything, trust and faith. I've leaned into it more, not just to help myself, but to help my family, to help my relationship. I use spirit all the time because I don't know why I'm touching on relationship, but I think it's important in relationships because I really do feel like I mean, we all have this gift, but I think that you can't build a life of connection without using spirit. Like
Yes. I
in
believe that too.
any relationship that you have. And if you have the gift to tap in even deeper, you're not only helping yourself to evolve, you're helping the relationship to evolve. Because if I evolve, there's only a matter of time before that person evolves or dissolves, right?
I love the way you said that because a lot of us think that the people that we're with, whether they're in, marital relationships or just, where you're living together or you're just boyfriend and girlfriend, girlfriend and girlfriend, boyfriend and boyfriend, whatever the significant structure of the relationship is, it's we believe that they get to evolve with us, and we're never prepared for the if the story of their higher self says, I'm going to be here. I always picture it like this: two higher beings sitting on the edge of the universe, looking down at earth, saying, okay, we're about to go do this. And each higher being is saying, well, I want to experience this and this. And the other higher being says, okay, I'm going to be for you there, so that you know, I'll bring whatever energy you need so that you can activate to be that. And then you have these other higher beings says, and I'll be there for you here, and I'll be there for you that. And you've got all these higher beings saying, okay, I'm going to be your mom, I'm going to be your dad, and okay, I got to be the grandma, then I got, you know. So they've got all these platforms coming in, so that eventually when it gets to me, or just say to a person who's about to go in and have their story, you know, everything's all set up. You know, it's just like going out and setting up the stage for a play, and marking, you know, how you mark where you're going to come in and you're going to enter, and you're going to stage, you're going to enter stage left, and you're going to stand on your mark, and you're going to say this line, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to do whatever I need to do to activate you, and then I'm gone, you know. And you kind of, yes, in the human experience, we miss that person, whether it's in death, or whether they, you know, left this, walked out on you and you never see them ever again, or something, you know, whatever it is. We have that strong belief that that disconnect shouldn't have ever happened. Maybe it was me, if I only did XYZ to to did I freeze for a moment?
Oh yeah, that's okay. I'm good. I get
Okay.
that.
Okay. So, you know, if I only had did this, then they still be around. But what helps me now is understanding spirit. I understand that not everybody was meant to stay in your life. They were just meant to be there in that instant for for whatever the action was or the trigger was. A lot of people like to call it trigger, but usually if somebody triggers you, it's not them doing it because they have a trigger that triggers you. You get triggered on the inside to grow and to expand.
Yeah.
You get to react to what's inside you that needs to change. Hey Foxy. Um so for me, it's like learning all of that, understanding that I felt I lost my mother at an early age to me, which is like 30, because she was, I believe, this is what I believe. I believe that my mother was my spiritual guide in human form. I believe that she wanted to be human, yes, but she also took on the task of being my spiritual guide, to guide me in the allowance and the surrender to ask the questions I could ask about spirit, about religion, about, you know, discerning it, you know, and all of that. Now, she was not, if I didn't mention to her a certain thing, like, um, I mean, okay, perfect scenario. I remember the first time a little, not little boy, but I think it was in junior high school, the first time somebody ever called me the N word.
Mm.
Okay. Because I was, the neighborhood that I was raised in, it was very, it had a hot, it had a melting pot of just everyone. So my mother never raised me to make a difference between a person by their color. It was just, you know, something somebody did to me, or, whatnot, but it wasn't about color. So the first time that I heard that word because I heard it on TV, and I took on the uh the attributes of TV and the actors, So I responded, and I came home. I cried a little bit about it, but the only reason my mother knew was I brought it to her attention. So
Mm,
anything that I didn't bring to her attention, a lot of that information was downloaded into me. She didn't know to correct it. So when she passed at 30 years old, I felt very, very, I didn't understand that her journey, not
mm,
just with me, because I'm one of five kids,
mm,
right? So, but for me, for that perception of my story, she was there in human form, right? And I felt the loss, but at the same time, I always felt that she was there.
mm,
But because I knew about ghosts, I know about spirits. My mother was very open about her father being a spirit, not being afraid, being open. She didn't judge when I was talking to the air, or when I would talk to a bird, or when my clothes talked to me. When I would go out and pick clothes, and I would tell her that that blouse talked to me. It really spoke volumes to me. And
mm.
she never dismissed it as, you need to you know don't say that too loud. She just let me be me, right? So when when her time was left, that was her time, that okay, I did what I needed to do in human form. Now
Mm.
I've got to go be this. I've got to go be there for you, but it's going to be
In a
in a
different way.
different form.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I really
Yeah.
appreciate that there. Yeah, because when somebody passes, um, it like an ego death happens. Like that role that you were in that relationship, it's almost like it's no longer needed on this earth. It's not just that you have the memories of that role and in the relationship, but once that person passes on, I do feel like the relationship shifts energetic,
Yeah.
and you no longer play that role really on earth because that person is no longer there. And I think that changes a person, and it can change them for the good, or it can change them for the not so good. I always think it's for the good, even though we can look at it like, oh, you know what I mean? It's the worst thing in the world. We've just lost somebody. But I think there's so many lessons and so many things that you can learn from from the relationship, because you kind of go over it a little bit with yourself. Do you know what I mean? I think the only thing that comes out of that a lot of the time is maybe the guilt that people have. They didn't spend enough time with the person, or maybe they didn't say the right things or whatever. So in that case, hopefully when people feel those things, that's why it's so important to trust spirit and like say what's on your mind, say what you feel, be
Right.
your authentic self, because like you said, you got many stories in this one lifetime, and what are you going to do with it? Like,
Oh my God. It's like every little now moment, when you start really, for me, when I could hear, oh, they're talking to me. I I am like a fly on on the wall, listening to my higher self talk to my egoic self, from my little I, and
yeah,
my little I will go, oh no, she's gonna freak it. Oh no, she's gonna freak out. Oh no, she just got over this, and now she's gonna try to deep dive into that. Oh no, and listening to my higher self go, little one, it's okay, she's got this,
yeah,
you know, and then just being that I'm a fly on my own wall,
yeah.
you know,
I'm the same.
kind of, so all right, are you ready for the third question?
Yeah.
Oh man, I love this. I really love this. Okay. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay. Um, your podcast, The Ultimate Human Experience, explores the vastness of being. I've listened to some of it, and really it explores the deepness of an individual, not an individual who is becoming,
Mm,
right? Okay, in your view, what does it truly mean to live as an awakened human being from your perspective? Not just the people that you've talked to on your show, but what does it truly mean, and how do you personally stay connected to that state in your everyday life? Motherhood, the time where you need to go from motherhood to me, you know, to significant other. I'm not sure if you're married or not, but significant other, or wife or spouse, and then to the podcaster,
mm.
the
Yeah. I'm learning to deepen my love unconditionally. I I guess I didn't know. I don't know. I think I always wanted to know what like pure love was. It's not to say I never received it. I received the love that my parents could give me on the capacity that they were able to give it.
hmm
And I'm thankful for that. But I also realized that I could go deeper. And that has been something that has shown up probably in like the last year and a bit. Like my mother-in-law passed away really suddenly last year, and from there spirit was like, "Are you ready?" And I was like, "Oh." I was like, "I'm ready." But on a human level, I was like, "I don't know if I'm ready." But they were like, "You're so ready."
hmm
And I have deepened it in ways that it's going even deeper. Like every I could just say the way that I move and everything that I do, I'm allowing everything to flow effortlessly, it feels like. Even in the chaos, I feel like that's just a part of it. This is just a part of that human experience. How much do you want to deepen your love? What does
mm
that look like for you, Rashida? And it looks like every single day. So whether that is managing the kids, doing the podcast, connecting with different people, having conversations with friends, like, deepening my love with my partner, like all of those things, it's all Rashida. It's all divine soul. I think now I've merged it all together. I think before I definitely looked at everything as really separate from each other. And I think that's where I had a lot of, I guess you could say, like resistance of like wearing all these different hats. And for the first time ever, they were like, take all of the hats off and just be. And that's
oh, I love
where,
that.
yeah, and that's where I've stayed. And in that, I'm learning now that all the hats are off, like, now how can you deepen that? How can you continue to love yourself more? How can you show up as yourself? Like, the work that I do, I'm blessed that I'm able to do that work, but I'm also blessed that, like, even before I was doing this work, I was still utilizing and working with spirit, even when I wasn't working with people. Like, I was using it in my everyday life. I use it a lot in my relationship. It's like, how can I not do that? And I also think I'm in a space now where I'm simplifying it a little bit
Mhm.
more. I mean, I've got that Scorpio moon and rising, so I do like to go deep all the time. But I also feel like, Rashid, it's also okay to just be human. And even in the human, you can be present and aware and open to receiving everything that's coming in. But I'm also learning how to continue to manage that by like sifting through the things that I don't need a lot easier.
Uh,
So, what is it that, oh, let's sift through that. You don't need that, but let's keep that stuff. Um, and I have to say, I really like it here. Like, I like the fact that I can be in that space. I'm no longer living in that fear. I still have moments of it, right? Because we're humans. So I'm still going to have those feelings, and I'm really aware when they come up. And then I like tap into where that's coming from. And now it's like, Spirit is like, you're also, Rashida, you're now in a space of like you're grounded, you're safe, you're secure. Like now we need you to live in that. I definitely think 2025 was a year of feeling into stuff. I'm so used to being able to read anybody and helping other people that for the first time they were like, we actually just need you to help yourself more than
Hmm.
you ever had. And can you go there? And I was like, all right, I'm willing to go there. And yeah,
Yeah.
my heart has opened up in ways that I knew it could go there, but I didn't know it could go there.
Oh,
And I'm like,
yeah.
ooh, I like that I can get to that space. And wow, I'm still looking forward to like what happens in the next couple of years. I mean, people have said this. Once you hit go into your 40s, it's like the tip of the iceberg. I'm not right in the middle. I'm 44, but I feel like I'm just here and it feels nice. That little peak right here feels really
Yeah.
good, and I get to look out and survey, and their spirit is like, look at what you've created, Rashida. Like, look
All
at that.
right.
And I'm like, be in that feeling. What does it feel like? Not just the words, but what is the energy? What is the frequency? How is that emanating from your body? And now they're like, now breathe into your entire body, not just your heart, but breathe into your entire organism. Because the more you breathe into that frequency, the more it's like coming back like this. Like it's
Right.
just back and forth. And I'm also realizing that I can't do that alone. I love having conversations like this. This always reminds me of why I have to keep doing this. Like
Yes.
these conversations excite me. It's like a high because two souls getting together and having these deep conversations, like, what? I couldn't
Yeah.
every day can't be Groundhog Day. I need to go and like swim in the cosmos and like
Okay.
have these
So,
conversations.
so, Rashida, the divine has taken you to the top of that iceberg with that high. I'm going to tell you, wait till you deep dive from the top of the iceberg to see how really vast and wide it is underneath. And all those layers, man. I mean, it's starting to have so much shifting, and I think that's where I went to the last couple of years, right? But 20, like you said, 2025 has been monumentous for me. First, learning about my health and how to merge modern medicine with holistic medicine, how to um, deal with how to alchemize and acclimate to growth and to restructuring my cells and everything. So learning to be an alchemist. I
Mm,
mean, you know, and then also deep diving into the the abyss of me,
mm.
right? And when you say abyss, when we think about that, we just think that it's vast and you're just everywhere, just
It's
everywhere.
dark.
It's dark and everything. And yes, it is dark. But what I learned is I was that light that needed to shine there so I could see all the all the little details or all the little um the divine is trying to give me the word, all the all the little pebbles that are a now moment,
Mm,
right? And I don't have to gather them up. They're going to vibrate to me, and then I'm going to put the pebble where it needs to be, you know. And eventually I'm going to, dive a little deeper and then find out that I'm looking at these pebbles when I go into my meditation. These pebbles are starting to look like stone steps,
Mm,
right? And it's just I think that's the confirmation that no matter how deep I go, I can always climb,
mm,
right? And the depth is not because I'm diving to the abyss of something that's wrong with me. It's just something that was layered that I need to now make not make sense of it, allow my higher being to understand why I layered it, so that my higher being gets to understand the process of what duality is, what it came to learn.
mm,
And that's what wholeness is. That is, it's not getting rid of my ego and saying, bad ego, bad ego. I'm going to figure out a way to kill you, because the ego in me is just energy wanting to create for me.
mm,
It took care of me until I could recall, or till my higher being came online and could recall. I can't say bad ego, now get out. Get out, leave. I have to, I had to begin to understand that it's okay to let my ego learn,
mm.
let my ego merge. And my ego has to deep dive with me. And of course, it's going to be uncomfortable because it's never gone there before.
Yeah.
It's always protected me from that. So 2025 has just everything opened up, and my ego was going, wow, where are we going? How come you're not afraid of this? How come, they told you, stage one, and well, no, that's just a label. That's their label. But we're going to say, I'm going to allow for you to go ahead and be scared, because I am scared,
Mm, yeah.
because that's a feeling that I get to have, because it's part of the human experience. Okay, now I felt scared. What am I now? Well, now I move into it's this is a step that's this is just a step that's I don't know about yet. I'm beginning to make sense of it. So how are we going to do that? I'm going to ask my doctor's questions. I'm going to ask my surgeon's question, and I'll take in their information. I'm not going to judge it, not by anybody else's standards, not by big pharma or any of the other stories that many people wanted to bring in and say, well, you need to listen to this and listen to that. No, I need to do what's for my highest and greatest good. I think I need to bring my higher being in on this. I need to bring my ego in on this. I need to, the first thing that I told the divine, I asked the divine, I can't even say why me, because I don't want to go into victimhood anymore. So why now?
Mm,
Right? And my higher being said, well, hey, you've been talking about in a lot of your lives, and helping people, try to help them understand that they don't have their story about modern medicine is what their story is. If their story is that they're uncomfortable with modern medicine, then they're not practicing holistic, then they're leaving themselves open and susceptible to just giving up,
mm,
right? And I want people to live long enough that they can make a discernment about, go ahead, take the medicine with the intention that you want to learn more about holistic medicine, and how to use that for your highest and greatest good, you know and and to listen, and the divine says, well, if you don't know it yet, how can you teach it? And it's true, because I was going to go, you know, for spiritual books and, science books and whatnot, and do it that way. And the divine says, well, I'm the best teacher you have,
mm,
right? Just blew my mind. And when I took it to that, I don't want to say extreme, when I surrendered to that and
mm,
said, okay, then this is going to be my teacher. So
mm,
that meant when I went in for my to have the lump removed, I told the divine, I want the best care team. I deserve the best. And the divine said, your wish is my command, right? And I want doctors who are going to be active listeners, not agree with me, but be active listeners. And the divine says, your wish is my command. And I told the divine, I want to be able to be an active listener as well, right? So that I can see where the merge has to happen, so that I can see where if I'm going to talk about altering energy and transforming energy, well, I need to be and alchemizing it. Well, then I need to learn how to allow the divine to be behind me doing it. That I'm not doing this by myself. I'm not the human body taking over and becoming superhuman. I have this higher being that's saying, I'm here with you. All the energy comes from me. Send back what you don't want. And going in, and when I did the radiation treatments, when the energy of that machine was pulsating and doing what it needed to do, I was talking to that energy, telling it where I wanted to go and what I wanted it to do, and that if there was any after effects, that was not part of my story. So giving it permission to leave.
Big
Right.
one.
Big one. And then when I started taking my soursop, and I started taking my noni powder, and I started, taking my beetroot juice. Before I take it, I talk to it. I give it thanks. I remind it upon occasion. Remember, I'm taking you to maintain my blood pressure. Um, you know, to allow the cells to reproduce for the highest and greatest good of my blood pressure, the highest and greatest good of maintaining my estrogen levels, the highest and greatest good. Why? Because I'm the co-creator with the universe or the divine, and the divine is saying, well, this is your time to learn this. Not
Mm,
just to learn it, to activate it. And
yeah.
then once you know how to activate it, you can teach it to others. You can teach it to them. You can give them a seed. You can't plant the seed for them, Sandy. Remember that, because I know, little one, you want to plant that seed for them.
Yeah.
And then you'll get pissed off if they start kicking out the seed or
Right.
if they never water it, right?
Yeah.
It's just, give them the seed, give them the information, and let them do what they need to do with it.
And sometimes it's just in you being. Sometimes it's in your own actions. They can just watch you. I'm learning that too. Like what you said, I'm very much of like, let me plant that seed for you. Let me help you. Let me whatever. And then I realized it's not your job. You can't be navigating and fixing everybody's garden. You gotta tend and fix your own garden. And in
Hmm.
that, they'll look at your garden and say, "Ooh, girl, what are you doing with your garden?" And then I
Yeah,
can go and say, "Yeah, this is what I'm doing," and they can choose whether they want to follow suit, and I never want you to copy. What I want you to do is to learn and say, "Hey, I want to get to know about my own garden. What does it look like? What kind of soil do I have? How can I cultivate my own?" Because everybody's garden looks different, right?
right. Exactly. And like I did a live, I don't know, maybe about a month ago, maybe about a month and a half ago, and someone was asking me, well, do I think soursop would help with, they have a different form of cancer treatment. They have a different form of, and it's a different stage and blah blah blah, different place. It's not the breast or whatnot. And I said, all I can tell you is you have to try it, but I wouldn't suggest just not taking the meds that you're on, but keeping an open dialogue with your doctors so that they can do the tests that they need to do, because it's not beyond. Doctors are always talking about miracles, and they don't understand how it happens or blah blah blah. It's just one day your holistic medicine is doing helping your body regenerate itself, where you don't need the man-made medicine anymore, or not as much of it. Maybe they need to, take their dosage and reduce it, till it gets to a point where you're not taking that at all. You've learned to regiment yourself in holistic medicine, as and like taking a vitamin. You drink your beetroot juice, or you drink your noni juice, or you do your sour sop, or whatever. It becomes what you do in your everyday as part of life. Just like if any person that wants to restructure their eating habits, you know you slowly take out foods and replace them with other foods till you get the right portion. So and the person was like, well, I just need you to tell me. I said, I can't tell you
It
that.
works like that, yeah.
It doesn't work like that, because one size doesn't fit all. The stage one that information that they gave me, I chose not to take that label, number one,
Yeah.
right? And number two, it wasn't denying what was going on in the physical body, because I have a physical body, and my body was saying, hey, I need you right now, this is happening. So I also had to deal with, okay, what emotions are going on with me? You know, I had to go down and figure out, did I layer something up? It
Hmm.
was a whole opening. It wasn't just all of that. So uh you can I can be my best me for me, but I can only give you a version of what might be good for you, to
Hmm.
where you start. I can only give you that pill and say, here, try it, right? The pill of hope, or growth, or just stepping out of fearing stuff, you know and then you have to plant that within you, and every day you have to grow it.
Hmm.
You can't say, well, Sandy told me to do this.
Yeah, no, I did not say
It
nothing.
just yeah.
I'm here to give you the tips and tools, to be honest. That's up to you to do it, right? Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Always my tips and tools are just what have brought me to where I am today. And when people are like, wow, Rashida, you're so peaceful, you're so this, okay, well, like, these are the things that I did. Like, there are certain books that I'm like, if there's certain books that you should read, these are the ones you should get. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it changed my life. And if it changed mine, maybe it might for you. And maybe
Yeah.
you might go there and find a different book that does something for you. You know what I mean? But whatever it is that helps you to remember who you innately are in a way that makes you feel full and whole, that to me is a beautiful thing to do.
Right.
Because we all walk around feeling like super small, and at the end of the day, what we want is to feel full. We want to feel like ourselves, and half the time we don't even know. Right? A lot of
Right.
the people that I talk to who don't even have these type of conversations are like, I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm like, girl, we all are trying to figure it out. Do I think that we could figure it out? I mean, using spirit really helps.
Yeah.
Like I can't drive the car alone. I need to take a
Th-
back seat sometimes.
yeah. It's kind of like, I am the car, and my higher being is saying, okay,
Yeah,
my higher being is in the seat. I'm the car and the taxi,
yeah,
right? And the higher being is in the passenger seat, in the front seat, saying, okay, where are we going to go now? And because I have this free will, I'm going to say, oh, let me try this. And the higher being, my higher being, or my soul, or spirit, or whatever you want to call, whatever anybody's label is saying, okay, let's go there.
yeah.
it's like I don't think it's not saying I don't think that you want to do that. It's saying okay, sounds good, let's go there. You know,
Yes.
let's see what what kind of journey that's going to be. Kind of like the book that I'm reading right now on my YouTube on Thursdays. I did not do it last week, so anybody who's in the room, if you didn't see it last week, I had some things come up. So last Thursday I didn't do a reading, but I'm reading a book called The Surrender Experiment by Michael A. Singer,
Mm.
which this book I've read it twice on Instagram, the divine, right? And then when I started reading on YouTube, the divine says, okay, the divine said, you're going to be reading on YouTube. And like YouTube, I did 2.5 years of Instagram. I'm going, I'm there, right? And and the divine says, nah, but now you got to do this, right? And I'm
Yeah.
going, you know, YouTube, and I'm going, I'm scared. And the divine said, my ego says, you're scared? That was the first time that I heard my ego go, what? You're not scared. And my higher being is going, she's a little bit scared because it's a bigger
Yeah, and it's new.
platform.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
also new, different.
yeah. So, but once I started doing it, um, it started to flow, which I understand what Michael A. Singer was talking about. He decided, he heard there was a version of him that allowed him to see and hear his egoic self constantly chattering, constantly talking, constantly complaining, constantly. It was like it wouldn't shut up, but he was viewing it from another lens, and he wanted to get to that place where he could find out who that was within him,
Mm.
which was that was his like encounter with his higher self. And in the book it's so chronicled really well. I think it was like he was um uh kind of journaling, and it eventually became a book, but he
Mm.
just kept surrendering to life. Instead of allowing his ego to fight it, he would just, go, nope, we're going to go there. Let's see where life is taking us. And life was didn't take him down the easy breezy roads. Life opened up some very deep caveats for him. And but that was this last time when I was reading it. I'm on the last 3 chapters, which will finish the book. But in the last 3 chapters, it always moves me because the divine in me can go to, I feel like I'm jettisoned into that moment of what he was feeling when he finally understood the surrender,
Mm.
in this last place that life opened up for him, where he thought that he was going to lose everything.
Mm.
And he never really truly went back to a victim stage, but he kept asking what next, and then something else would happen, but he refused to go back to that egoic self where the chatter was a lot noisier
Mm.
than the moments of surrender that he had in just going with the flow.
Mm.
And that, I think that's what I'm going through now. Uh it's like being in a cave. And as you're going in the cave and you're getting deeper and deeper into the cave, you're going through these little crevices that feel really, really tight. But then when they open you up to this vast cavern of, high ceilings and all these different, um, like platforms of that you can climb, and you're going, wow. how did that open up for me? Right? You know, but now you're here and you're going, okay, okay, I'm here. What next? Which has always been my question ever since I was a little kid. What next? I
Mm,
always asked that question. I never understood why until now,
mm. I
right?
love
So with that, what was the most illuminating? This is my signature question. What was the most illuminating or soul awakening moment in your own healing journey?
Mm,
You know, kind of like how did that shift you? You know, we're
mm,
all shifting and evolving, and then we're washing, rinsing, and repeating.
mm. Yeah, I would honestly say the moment that my mother-in-law passed away. Like, I'm always used to spirit. So like being on this journey really wasn't like, I don't want to say it wasn't anything new, but it's almost like I knew all of this stuff and I was just reawakening to a lot of it. I just forgot about it. So like when I would read books, it would remind me of stuff and it would intrigue me to read more books. And every time I read it, I'd be like, oh, this makes total sense. Like I totally get it. And I would just continue on. Even with Reiki, it felt really natural. I didn't do Reiki in a way that was like, what is this Reiki? I was like, oh, I need this to elevate myself. Like, I knew that I wasn't something that I was going to be like a full blown practitioner. Like, I used to do that, but now I teach more. And the psychic piece, really, I love to talk. So it just kind of worked out more natural for me.
Mm-hmm.
So even going through those levels, it really was an opportunity for me to just like thin the veil more so that I could have more open dialogue with spirit. But the passing of my mother-in-law forced me back into my body.
Ah,
Like
okay.
I realized that like not everybody is a client. Like even in my relationships, because I want to help people, because I can't help but see their full blueprint of their soul and what they're feeling and what they're going through. And for the
Mm-hmm.
first time ever, and I know what happens when people pass, right? Like when my dad passed, I wasn't really close to him, so I didn't really have that like loss. Um, like I lost my dog was probably like the closest thing for me, and then when my mother-in-law passed, I was like, oh, Rashida, you're in for a whirlwind of an experience here. And we are really
Mm-hmm.
going to ask you to dive deeper into the body and what it can do. And you really are going to have to utilize spirit more than ever. I did a lot of
Mm-hmm.
that too during COVID. I tapped in a little bit deeper, and that kind of guided us, my family and my relationship, out of like some heavy deep spots where I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, and even then I was like, oh, Rashida, like, yeah, I remember, like, you can use this anytime, like, almost in this way of like, it's a surprise that you got through it, but also it was like, well, you knew spirit, but this time they were actually asking for me to get real and to dive back into my body and to feel. And I think I not even think, I know her passing awakened something within me to be the most that I can possibly be as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, like the things that she did not get to experience, and a lot of women out there do not get to experience because they are living for everybody else except for themselves, when in actuality, we need to live for ourselves first. And in that, you create the stepping stone and the space for your family to thrive. And that really taught me like, this is your time, Rashida. Like, this is it. And at first I was a little scared and hesitant, and I started to step into a role of like, well, I gotta hold space the way that she does, because when you're the matriarch, you
Yeah.
feel this pressure of holding, and they're like, no, 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 we don't want you to do that. We want you to figure out what it looks like for you. And I was like, oh, okay, that's actually a little bit more less pressure. And in that, I utilized spirit to hold space in ways that I knew I could anyway, but
Mm-hmm.
it also opened our relationship to something deeper. Like my partner knows what I do and he gets it, but at the same time, I don't think he really understood it until his mom passed. And that was something that I knew I would have to hold space for him with in a way that was like, I need you to step in, Rashida, not just as like Rashida the psychic, but no, like Rashida the wife, like, but
Right.
but utilize spirit. So when I said to you before, taking off all the hats and just being the divine, that's literally what I have been doing, and I'm getting more comfortable. I'll have to say it like this: I'm getting more comfortable in my skin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is what it is. We support each other on something that we've never seen in terms of what a relationship is supposed to look like. Um, he never grew up with a two-parent household that was positive. Like, I didn't grow up in a two-parent household that was positive, so we had to come together and figure that out. And I think we are absolutely learning what unconditional love really, really means, how we can support each other, how
Mm-hmm.
we can lean in on each other, how I can utilize spirit in everything that I do, and how he can do the same, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
with both like men and women, doesn't matter what relationship you're in, we both have that masculine and feminine energy. And when you grow up as children, you grow up in whatever spirit gives for you to learn in that lifetime. And then you come together in a relationship and you hope you can make it work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to realize that in order for me to do that, I have to be my whole self. And
Right.
I'm absolutely not going to, like, for sure, I'm not leaving this earth without being my whole, full, authentic self. And that means to love unconditionally. And I don't think I
Yeah.
ever realized what that ever looked like. I never really knew what that was. And I'm learning that now. And they're like, you can go as deep as you want. So, yeah,
Right.
that would be my answer.
Yeah. You can go as deep as you want. I love that. I love that. I mean, because I think when I lost well, not lost. There was many of us that lost a little bit from, I think I could say it that way. My divine is saying, say it that way. When I lost my grandson a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, he was only 4 months when he
Mm,
passed. His body was not the healthiest. He was born preemie, and it was a struggle for him in such a tiny body, trying to all his organs trying to wait for him to grow. But I was put in the best, most glorious situation with that, because I allowed myself to go ahead and feel those feelings.
mm,
Okay. I knew I had to feel those feelings, but I felt them internally, because guess what? I still had to be the mother, my strong for my son, strong for my daughter-in-law, and really for the people that the car that we were in. I'm telling you, this baby came for healing, and not just for his immediate family, but healing, because in his death, um he brought together people that had not, at least in the car that I was riding in, to go over, when my son had said, hey, he passed away in his sleep, but because he was a baby that passed away, the police had to be there. They just had a whole lot of people there. So his father came by, picked me up, and also in the car was also her mother, in the car that I was in. and I think my daughter, and then my daughter-in-law's sister was in the car, and but it was so quiet, but it was people were having their emotions, and in it I wasn't. I kept telling Spirit, it's not the time. I know I feel, you know, I'm going to, my eyes are glossy. I'm feeling this, but I feel that there's more. What, once again, I asked the question, what now? You know, what more? And then all of a sudden I felt a peace, and I heard this very soft, faint voice, right? And I looked around because it wasn't any of them. And he said, I'm here. I'm with you. When it's time, you'll tell my dad and my mom, I did this for them,
Mm.
but I couldn't stay in this body. And tell them, tell my dad, I've got my hand on his face.
Mm.
Tell my mom, I'll be holding her hand and walking with her every place she goes. So I said, you know, in this state, I said, do you want me to tell them that? Because at that point, I don't think they were there yet because they were in the loss. They were very deep in it, you know, because I mean, it was really new. I mean, so by the time we had gotten there, they had already took the baby because they have to do an autopsy to find out how, why he passed and that kind of thing. And I just went, and the divine says, okay, now you can cry,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I had to be, I was in emotion, or the emotion was flowing through me, but I had to be able to hear the divine,
Yeah.
right? My divine had to be able to be, that frequency had to be open enough so that I could hear this little baby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or maybe not baby, but
Yeah, the
this
soul, the spirit. Yeah, I agree with you
right.
100%. I definitely have moments of that where I was feeling the energy of everybody, right? The grandkids, like everybody, and realizing, like, ooh, this is really overwhelming. But I also then realized that, like, in order, what this human experience is really about is to be able to feel all of it.
Right.
And as uncomfortable as it is, it's also really like healing. There's some kind of catharticism to it where you're just like, oh, it's all a part of this life and how we're supposed to live it. And that's when I really diving deep into the body, which we put so much limits on it. I realized that even though we're on this earth and we place so much limitations on it, it's so limitless. And in that, they definitely said, like, how can you expand to hold more space? You thought you could only hold this much space? Girl, you can, there's an infinite amount. And that made me realize, like, oh my gosh, there's so much power in that. And it doesn't have to be separate from one another. It's just one straight line. It's not the human or the spiritual. It's the stuff that's in the middle that brings that together. And
Yeah.
that's where I'm sitting right now, and that feels really good. But I 100% know that, like, well, we always know things happen for a reason, right? So I was like, oh, yeah, I'm on the catalyst of something. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
you're ready to have something happen in your life that's going to just bring it to this next level. And I feel it more now than ever, I think, since her passing. And almost like you want to, I guess, like honor those who have crossed over, because so many cross over not getting a chance to fully live in their wholeness. And I want to, it's almost like I want to be able to do that. And if I know that when I do that, when I'm living in my wholeness, I'm not living just for myself, I'm living for everybody, for my kids, for my partner, for my ancestors, for my spirit guides, I'm living, that's what they want, is for us to live there and not to limit it. Because once you pass is when you realize, like, it's all of this, and you're like, oh my gosh, like,
Yeah, yeah. The spirit actually merges back with the divine and going, oh, I get it, right? Right, yeah, you know. But I'm feeling that now with my higher self saying, wow, because I've allowed it to go back down memory lane, and my ego gets to take that back seat because it's been holed up in my memory lane, and utilizing it a different way than my higher being is taking it all in and going, well, explain this to me and explain that to me, and why did you feel this way, and why did you feel that you had to feel this way for like 6 years, why did you push it down, you know like a kid. Why? But why?
yeah,
Or a kid that's saying, "Are we there yet? Are we there
yeah,
yet? Are we
yeah,
there yet?" So it's like, oh, okay, I get it. And the more and the deeper it goes, the more expansive it gets.
yeah, yeah.
So
100%. And the
okay.
only place you can go is gotta go deeper.
Is go deeper, and the deep isn't, it's kind of like going down Alice's rabbit hole, but it's not
Yeah.
a bad place to be. It starts to open up so many caveats, about the uh where you're going, how you're going, why you're going, and what's on the other side of the going,
Hmm.
right? And you get to interact with all these different characters that are they're really just uh shadows of what real life is. you know they're that shadow that you get to walk with somebody else. That's a shadow that actually, when you look at what real life is, oh, that looks like X, Y, and Z. Oh, that looks like what my hubby does, or what my wife does, or what my girlfriend does, or what my coworker does, or whatnot. And you see all these shadows, and you go, "Oh, I get that. I'm watching this shadow move around," and you get to discern how it moves and how you want to move with it. And then when you step into it and through it, you come back to this life, and you all of a sudden you have this energy that you're moving with, that shows you how to move with your coworker, or your husband, or best friend, or whatnot. And it's
I know.
right.
Yeah.
And you kind of go, whoa, you kind of want to go, okay, I got this. And then you hear the divine, and you go, yeah, you got this.
Hmm. Yeah.
Right. So before we close, you get to do a question for me.
Mm. Oh, I
And
had before. Okay. I get to do a question for you.
yes,
Mm.
and I get to go
Oh,
take my
okay.
breath.
Yeah. Okay. I remember the question. Now, what would you say, because you are older, and I talk to a lot of younger people out there who have older parents, and a lot of them are stuck in their ways. But I still do believe that even as you get older, something inside of you shifts. I think that sometimes it softens for people, especially because you guys grew up what they would call is like the silent era. I think that's what they call it, like the different generations. And then it's like
Yeah,
my
no,
mom,
I'm not the silent era. I'm a mixture of
like the baby boomers.
the baby boomer. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
a baby of the baby boomer
Yeah. Okay. So like,
because the baby boomers had a long they had a long stretch,
yeah, they
you
did.
know, you know.
Yeah. So what would you say to those who are your age and a little bit older who I really do feel like they could be open to learning and open to conversation, open to healing. I know a lot of them take a lot of things to their grave. They, you know what I mean? They feel like they're okay. You know what I mean? Like we're in a generation where people are going to therapy, people are having these conversations, but a lot of them never had the opportunity to do so. But we're also seeing that that can shift and change in the generations that come after that in some way ignites that within themselves to say, like maybe I should, or maybe I. So, what would you say to those who might still be stuck, but it's more of like they're shy or not even shy, maybe just more fearful? Because I think a lot of people are just fearful of stepping into that because they've been so accustomed to living a certain way that to switch it would just be like not
Oh,
even something
yeah.
they could fathom.
Yeah, because they're just living in some of them. Okay, I'll just say um there's two things that I believe is going on. One thing is they're they had a certain perception, or they were given a certain you could call it a download or whatnot of information about how they should live life, and it's not for their highest and greatest good. It's they should live life based on what a certain group of people have told them, whether it's society or government, or or their mom and dad versus their grandparents or whatnot. Well, my mother and father always did it, or my grandmother and grandfather always did it this way, so what's good for them is good for me, right? And that, or they have where um and this is a lot of the baby boomers. They have the next generation, which is what, millennials, right?
Yeah,
Telling and the generation after that, that overlooks all the stuff that baby boomers have done and the lost generation have done, that that their lives started right where they were, in cell phones, in uh the advancement of the beeper, moving. Baby boomers have moved through everything.
that's true.
Okay, so we were there when we had the largest computer ever, the dial-up. We were there with the first telephone, you know. We were there, and then our grandparents were there with the first car, and whatever the struggles were to have the first car in the family, or the first television in the family, the first phone. I grew up with everything. It was, and to be told that the baby boomers didn't have anything to do with it is just, so they've got two things going on: being fearful of change, and then other generations, younger generations, not acknowledging that if the phone didn't get created, if the first car didn't get created, if the first computer didn't get created, all of these were created by the baby boomers,
Mm,
right? And that acknowledgement being there, saying, now we built, because you built it, I could now build something else. Because that's what growth is. Growth is the next set of generation making it better
yeah.
than what they had. That's that's evolution. So the next thing is, don't be afraid of the flying car, because that's next.
Yeah.
But they couldn't do flying cars if they didn't do the airplane in 1917, you
Hmm.
know. So I think what's happening is for the for uh, uh, the generation of my age is we're being told that we did nothing,
Mm.
right? So we've got some of us being afraid to step out into something more, and then we've got others of us that were told that what we did, that it doesn't matter, because the millennials and the Gen X and all of those, they're starting where they're at. They're
Mm.
not looking back at how that got to be this that they're doing. It's like my granddaughter, there when she came up, there was no landlines anymore.
Yeah.
So she's going, landline? What's a landline?
What's that? Yeah.
Right? But because she had myself and my daughter and her in one household, she got to understand the umbrella
Yeah. That's important.
of everything. But not everybody gets that aspect of it.
Yeah, that
She
is.
understands it because she could sit. It's like sitting in a powwow. The best thing is it's the ancients. How do I book what? I can't book what. They understood what their elders told the story.
Mm-hmm.
Their
Mm-hmm.
elders kept the story.
Mm-hmm.
What we have in our society is when you get old, throw them away or push them away or put them in a home,
Yeah, that's true.
right? So the story, the the stories never get told,
Or
or
passed
or
down.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that's yeah. So that's what I think is going on now, is you've got two different dynamics of people in their sick in their very late 50s, 60s, and even very early 70s, that are coming out of their cocoon, but they're being told to stay in it because the younger generation doesn't know how to deal with them coming out and saying, "Oh, I don't have to be afraid." So even actually adding that as a third caveat, you've got a lot of older, the older generation coming out of their cocoon going, "Oh, I'm not dead yet."
yeah. Yeah.
Right? Who's just saying, well, wait a minute, you're telling me because I'm 60 something I can't wear a mini skirt, or I can't wear makeup, or I can't wear pigtails or ponytails. You're telling me act your age. Well, what should my age look like? So you've got these three different caveats, so you've got to find out where they're at,
Yeah.
and then that tells you what their resistance is.
Mm. I appreciate that. Yeah,
I,
and then yeah, to add to just be like compassion.
yes.
I think we need to have more compassion, I think is something that is missing for people. I'll be honest, I love elders. I want to hear all about it. I want to know because you've been here and you've seen a lot of things, and there's so much wisdom that comes from that. And it is in sharing stories. I think that's something that's the only way we'll ever know is by passing down stories and not tucking it away or being ashamed of it. But there's lessons to be learned in those stories. And
Right.
even if it's in those moments that they don't realize it, like, oh, there's lessons to be learned in everybody's experience. Everybody has a story. Everybody should share it because you don't know. We're walking amongst billions of people. Everybody has something that they've been through that they can share and teach, even if they think that it's barely anything. It's more than, it's so valuable, so
Hmm.
valuable.
Right. And I just really think that, and it's an individual thing.
Yeah.
it's growth and expansion from each. I mean, we society says we do things in groups because groups protect us. But when you have just yourself and going, a unique expression of the divine, uniquely expression. First, I'm going to find out about myself. I'm going to get to know myself more, and deep dive into that. And then you get to find out who's vibrating towards you because you're in a certain vibration or frequency already. It's not just that I'm 67 years old. I had to think about that because I really can't tell you. Either I'm 67 or 68. I'm not really sure. Um, because I've got to that point where I just am me,
Yeah, that's it.
right?
That's all that matters. You don't look 67. I was like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah, but the gray hair gives it away.
I love the gray.
Well,
Yeah,
I keep having people tell me, there are people who would love to have the gray that you have,
yeah,
you know, younger because they're graying they're dyeing their hair. Hi,
yeah,
Starry Godmother. They're dyeing their hair, to get that way. So, um, it's trendy, because I've had somebody say, "Who dyes your hair?" And I go, "This is natural. I don't dye it." And they go, "What?" That kind of thing. But I think once we begin to know ourselves, even the younger generations, once you get to really deep dive into yourself and your thyself, then when you go back and look at other people and what they're doing or how they're doing it, we don't have as much judgment in them because we know ourselves.
yeah,
You know, we become one with ourselves, or we're strong within ourselves. So what other people are doing, we get to go, "Oh, that's them."
yeah.
All right. So I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, it did. It
That
did.
was
I
a good
appreciate it.
question.
Yeah,
That was
I
a
have
really
that
good one.
before. Yeah, I appreciate, yeah, getting to, I love asking questions anyway. You know how I am.
Yeah. So what I want to do is I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for saying yes to being a guest on here. I want to thank you for your beautiful energy, your podcast, everything you do for your family, your friends, and for the collective. When I use that word, the collective, the divine just says it's so much more than a
Oh, yeah,
collective.
it's not. The collective is everything. It's in everything, right? Like,
It's in everything.
yeah,
And I'm seeing you, I'm watching you, I'm feeling you. I feel the expression, and I just want to thank you for that.
I appreciate you. Thank you. I love having conversations with you. I'm really blessed to be able to connect with people. So I love technology. I'm always like, I love technology. I would not be able to. It's like I'm in Toronto. It is like almost 10 o'clock at night, and you're all the way over there. It's like photos at 5, 6 o'clock, maybe like 7 o'clock over there, something.
Yes.
Like, I think that's a beautiful thing that I can connect with people who vibe at the same frequency, that you can have conversations like this. And I appreciate it. Like, I appreciate that you brought me on again. And, like, yeah, anytime. I love these conversations. So
Oh, well,
thank
thank
you.
you.
And the
And
questions, too. The questions were very deep. Like,
very
I'm
deep. Yeah.
usually the one that's given the deep questions, and you were hitting me with them. And I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I truly feel enlightened. Everyone, you can please give. I'm so excited. I'm even excited even at the end of it. Would you give your the places where they can find you? I want to call it your call stations, but
Oh, yeah, I
as
like that.
as,
Yeah,
as
like,
if we're on TV. But where your she's on TikTok, Instagram, and she has a Spotify podcast. So would you share with them
yeah.
that?
I appreciate that. Yeah. Instagram, I'm realizing is a place where I can share little insights about the podcast, and it also gives me a chance to just like be creative in like my pictures and stuff like that. So you can find me on Instagram at righteoussun00. I stay on TikTok a lot now because like they give me 10 minutes to talk. Really, and I like to talk. So I'm over on TikTok a lot to share more insights, more of my thoughts and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And you can check out the podcast, the Ultimate Human Experience Podcast. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple. I've joined YouTube now because I know people like the visuals. So I post on there as well. And yeah, it's honestly, it's on all streaming platforms. When I look, I'm like, oh, this podcast is everywhere. So yeah, you can check it out. We have some great episodes that are coming up to finish off the season. I'm really excited to share those with everybody. And yeah, that's it. That's where you can find me. Go find me on all
Okay.
those wonderful, beautiful places. I'm never not sharing. Yeah.
That, and guys, that's the same with me. I'm on a lot more on YouTube now. So yeah, I read books on my YouTube. It's Soul Awakening Book Read on YouTube. And you can, it's that's the title of it. But when you go to look up my YouTube, it's Soul Awakening with Sandra. Everything is Soul Awakening with Sandra. My Spotify is Soul Awakening with Sandra. There is no way that you cannot find me. My Instagram is Soul Awakening with Sandra, and my TikTok is Soul Awakening with Sandra. I may give you a different variety of things. My star meditations, I'm even the divine keeps pushing in to a front burner to do my oracle and light language uh, uh, card readings and book readings again. And where the divine, I told the divine, you want me to do this, you have to figure out where I'm going to fit that in. You got to
Yeah.
help me. I told the divine, you got to help me, right? Because I also need some time off for myself, right?
Right? Yeah, I hear
Right.
you.
So, but you can find us, and if you have any questions, I cannot say it for her, but I can say it for me. DM me. I'm willing to have a little conversation with you, or give share a video that I've done to help you. Whatever it is, you guys, growth and expansion is what we're here to do. If
Yeah.
you need help, ask.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm always open to having these conversations to answer people's questions. If people can book with me, there's a sliding scale. So, like, if you can't afford what you see in the booking session, like, please don't ever hesitate to be like, listen, I can only afford this. I just want to be here to help people.
You're right.
That's the first and foremost. So, yeah.
Yes. I love it. Yay. All right. So here's how it works. When um I immediately go in and I download this, right,
Nice.
into my Instagram. Okay, but I know a lot of people, it's hard to go back and because I do so much. But this will also, guys, this will also be shared on my YouTube,
Nice.
okay, and it will also be shared on my Spotify.
I love it.
Okay, so what I need for you to do is I need for you to DM me your email address,
Perfect.
because this is going to be a big file.
Okay.
So I can send it to you, email it to you. That way you can use it as you wish, as long as you don't change
Oh,
my
no, I'm not gonna change
title or
anything.
anything. Okay,
I was
you
gonna
can
say you
use it
should
on.
collaborate. You on YouTube, there's a collaborative thing. So once I send you my email address and I think my channel page, there's a spot where you can hit collaborate, and then I can just we. It's like Instagram.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Okay, I'll have to look for that, you
Yeah.
know, because I'm learning my YouTube
Same.
thing. Yeah.
Same. Yeah. I just
So,
learned
yeah.
it like two
So,
weeks weeks ago. So yeah, you can just
Is it gonna
collab.
be Righteous Sun? Your YouTube is Righteous Sun 00?
It is, but I think it's something a little bit different. Like I'd
Okay.
have to send it to you, but I'll also maybe even send you like a screenshot as to where it is because I don't even know how I found it. I was like, oh, I didn't know I could collaborate videos and reels and all of that stuff with people.
Okay.
They just have to accept it. They get an invitation, I think, to like their email or something, and they can accept that way. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So that might be, yeah, that might be easier to get the video that way than for me to
just
to
download it and
send it
send it.
to, yeah, to to send it to my YouTube, then do my desktop so that I have it for my Spotify and everything. It's a process,
Girl, yep,
right?
technology. We just want to spread the love.
Spread the love, wear the hats, and then as you say, take the hats off and just be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm getting there. So okay, so we'll deal with that. Everyone else, you don't have to worry about that. Just go look for her Righteous Sun 00, right? Is
Yeah.
there two zeros or one?
Two
Uh,
zeros.
two zeros. All right. And Rashida, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, one love. Everybody, one love. Have a beautiful weekend.
Yes, enjoy. Peace, guys. Bye.
Bye.